Hello friends! I have quite a few photos here from a gingerbread man pizza party that we had. My kids had a couple of friends over and they made gingerbread pizzas. You might remember a December daily that I did, I don't know, a couple months ago. I think it was a Christmas in July, and I used a slice of pizza. Well, then this gingerbread man set, stamp set and die set came out. So I'm excited to turn this into a gingerbread man pizza. And I have a couple other stamp and die sets I want to bring in too. And then after they made gingerbread man pizzas, they made gingerbread houses. So we've got gingerbread men going on. We've got candy that I can embellish with. So that is going to be fun. Of course, eating the candy while you're making it is the best part. And the dog was not left out of the fun. So as you can see, I have several photos here, and the way I printed my 3x4s is I collaged them together. I have many videos showing how to do this, but I just wanted to show this to you before I cut them apart so you can see that. I get two 3x4 photos out of one 4x6, and I just collage it half and half on a 4x6 size. So I will link some videos in the description below if you would like to see how to do that. So I knew I wanted to start with a sketch. There are two sketches for my team right now. My team leader, Cindy Jackson, 2 levels above me, provides a sketch for our team every month. So this is her sketch. And then this is the sketch that I provide for my team and my customers. And so I wanted to use one of these. I think you can probably tell by the number of photos I have which one I'm going to go with. But I just wanted to show this one to you. So if you are on my team or in my customer group, don't forget to do your layout challenge to enter to win. So for this one, I still have too many photos. And if you notice over here, these are going to be 3x3 photos, but I printed them at 3x4. But what I did was I printed them with the intent to cut them apart and then cut them down to 3x3. So a lot of times that's easier just to print as a 3x4 and then crop it down rather than try to size it exactly to 3x3 in an app and print it at 3x3. You're just going to have blank space on the side of your photo that's wasted anyway, so it's not wasting a whole lot of ink just to print it this way, and that's just how I find it easier. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these ones to 3x3, these ones to all of these ones, and then this one. And then this one I'll leave as 3x4. And what I'm thinking is that's going to be this one here. So I'll have this 4x6 over here. It's actually a 5x7 in the sketch, but I'm going to go ahead and go with a 4x6 size. And I've got some blank space over here, and that's going to be good because it'll give me room to overlap some embellishing over the photo there. So even though, typically I don't like the people looking off the page or pointing off the page in a layout, but they're pointing that way but still looking this way. So I feel good about it. And then that blank space is going to give us that embellishment area. And then this is what is going to go right here. I still have too many photos to fit here, so I'll probably bring in some flip flaps along the way. So let's go ahead and select our paper. I've got this Keeping Traditions scrapbooking kit, and I think it's going to be perfect for the photos. I have already cut them down to 3x3, so see how perfect that was. This one I cut down a little bit smaller than 3x4 just because I had a little bit of extra space that I just didn't really want or need, so that one's cut down a little bit further. So we'll have plenty of room for embellishing on the left side. So the scrapbooking workshop kit comes with instructions to create these 3 2-page layouts if you would like to. My friend Erin did a rendition of this layout here, but changed it up quite a bit. It's awesome. I'll link to that in the description below if you want to check that out. I'm going to do something completely different, but what I'm gleaning some inspiration from is all of these little banner pieces that you see right here. So in the workshop kit, you get paper. So these are papers that are similar to papers in the Traditions of Christmas set. So there's this Traditions of Christmas DSP pack that has this gorgeous gold foiling, and there's a lot of the same patterns, but not all the same patterns. This unfortunately is sold out until about November 17th is when they're expecting it back. But we're just gonna work with the scrapbooking kit today. So if you wanna recreate what I'm creating here, you don't even need that. But the scrapbooking kit comes with some of the patterns. I've already got all of the back sides flipped over there. And then it's got some specialty papers. So these are designed to be base pages. So you get 2 of these. I think this is my favorite pattern that I've seen yet. So that's designed to be the base page of this layout, but I have some plans for this that is going to be different. And then this one is another base page. I don't remember if there was another one of these. There must just be one of these, but I was thinking this would be great for a school layout. I think I'm actually going to save this for my kids' school pictures that I just got back. And then there's cardstock that coordinates too, that comes in the scrapbooking kit. So you've got all the cardstock that you might need for matting your photos and such. And then we've got some pop outs. So we've got some fun embellishments here in addition to the gingerbread man, which I think I want to bring in because I do have, of course, all of my Christmas decorations and they match this quite perfectly. So I think I want to bring in some of these. But on this pop out sheet, we've got all of these strips. So I'm going to pop all of these out. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with these, but also before I do that, I just want to show you there's also the sticker sheet. So all of these stickers, and they're a nice thick like cardstock weight sticker that's really nice, and it's got all of the numbers too through 24. So if you, or actually 25, so if you're doing December daily, these would be a really fast and easy way to number your pages. So I'm going to go ahead and pop these out and then I'll show you my plan. Okay, so you can see that I've matted all of my 3x3 photos here together, and there's a reason for that. I didn't want any gaps where you can see the background, and I'll talk about that in a moment. And then over here I've got these 2 photos, and I'm also going to add this little journaling spot. This was from the little die cut pieces. I'm going to add that right there, and you'll see why. So I've got my photo that the flip flap is going to, or the photos that the flip flap's going to hold. I glued these back to back together, and one is upside down. I want my daughter on top, because then when this is going to go on my page, it will flip up, and then that one will be right side up. That is my daughter's friend, our family friend. So the way this will happen, I'm not going to put it on yet because I like to put mine on top of the page protector. So this is the sticky side up, and when you remove this release paper, then you'll fold it back, and then that way the sticky will be on the back, and then you'll put it right over the photo on top of the page protector. And then I like to open it and burnish it in, and then this adhesive, you can still sort of see it when you're done, but it really blends into the page protector, and I just feel like that way is so much easier than adhering it to the photo itself or to your layout. Some people will put the adhesive back here behind there, and it does stick really well, and then you don't see any adhesive, and then you can cut a slit in your page protector and feed it through. So that's an alternative way to do it. I just like to put it on top of the page protector. I find it easier. So there's a couple ways to do that, but I'm going to set that aside because I don't need it yet. But my plan is, remember these strips I talked about, and then on the sketch there's all of these strips here, and they're all different lengths, but I'm not bothered by that. I'm just going to make them all one, or sorry, heights I guess it would be. I'm just going to make them all one, but all I have here is this, 10¼ inch strip, and I want it to go all the way across. So if you can imagine, that's why I've got this here, so that then we only need a strip here. So let's see if we have enough. So now we're to here, and then we need a strip here, and then we need a strip here, and then we are barely gonna make it. So I think that is gonna work. I'm so excited. I didn't check before coming on and trying it with you. So let's see what order I want these in, because I have two reds, but they're a little different. This one's got mostly real red, and then this one is the cherry cobbler. And then we have two of these same ones. So I want to make sure that they are, you know, kind of separated. So let's try this. See if that's a good combo, and I'll kind of I'll overlap them just slightly and maybe even ruffle up. I'm not sure, maybe even ruffle these up. We'll see. I think that's pretty good. I think I like that. Okay, before I do any cutting though, I want to figure out my embellishments. So I'm going to just stick these under. They got all messed up. All right, we're mostly back in place. So I'm gonna stick those under there just so I can see everything as I figure out my embellishments. And also I matted everything in red. I'm hoping I like the red. I really liked the red with the photos, but typically I choose my matte color for my photos after I've chosen all of my paper, and I did it first. So we're just gonna cross our fingers that I like it. The first thing I want to do is I want to pull out a neutral, a dark neutral, to matte my whole background in. And I'm going to slip this back here. This is Secret C. Let me just take this away for a minute so you can see the color. I think that's going to be good because we've got Secret C here. The neutral I have in my photos is mostly like gray and black, but I didn't want gray or black. Secret C just kind of tends to go with anything. It's sort of gray, it's sort of green, it's sort of bluish. So I think that that works nicely and plays with this. And then there's, I think this is actually Secret C as well. So let me put that behind both of these. I'm actually going to just pull my mats away for now so you can see all of the colors. So I would cut this white down so that we have the color all the way around the edge. The other thing I was toying with is there's this brand new Whispers of Texture paper that is coming out in the November online exclusives, and I was actually, I pulled this out a little bit ago. I was super excited and then I was super sad because this paper is so cool. I'm hoping you can see that on camera. It's got actual texture. So this one has like little ridges. It's almost like a really mini corrugated paper. And then this one, it's almost like a watercolor paper linen look. But because I thought that it would be really cool to have like a texture or a really subtle pattern as my background. I definitely want it light, like white, but this is probably basic white and this is whisper white. So this is not as bright as this, and it does not go, and I've already matted all my photos, and this is bright white. But then actually when I pulled this out, this one looks like a brighter white. It's still not quite right. It's not going to work. But if you're using basic white, that would be so cool. I love the texture that that adds. It's really, really pretty. So save this for another project. All right, so then I was digging through Christmas papers and I found this Season of Elegance. This is actually still available, but it was from last year. And look at the greens are perfect. So then I was thinking, what if this is kind of a second border, and then that brings in some gold since that gold paper is sold out, and that could be like a second border all the way around. I think that could actually look really, really cool. And I like that it brings out this green as well. I'm not going to commit yet. So as I mentioned, I definitely want to use this gingerbread man, but I've got now a lot of kind of elegance going on, and this is a little bit more cutesy, but I think it can definitely work in. And then I might pull in this little gingerbread man as well. And I was trying to figure out if I should try to make the gingerbread man look like pizzas. I think I'm gonna make it actually just look like a gingerbread man. But I also pulled out some of the embellishments from the scrapbooking kit because I have quite a bit of space here to fill. And let's see, I might actually move this up a tiny bit more because I'm thinking I might add some poinsettias in addition to the gingerbread man, just to kind of add a little extra. So this is going to cover up some of these strips as well. I don't want to cover up much of the photo. I can overlap this photo a little bit. It gives me a little more room, and bring it down to fill the white space. So then if I put this one up here, so like I mentioned, we've got all this space to fill. Kind of do that. Now, as I look at this, we've got two that are the same. This one's a little different. I also popped out these pink ones because I've got pink over here, and then maybe I could bring another pink one up here. Then that makes this one look a little different from this one. I'm not sure I want this one though. It's a little bit big. Yeah, I'm not liking really how that's layering. There's this guy too, so I could also either add that here to make it different from here, or I can add that here to kind of bring that L down. And then the other thing I could do is I have all of these, and this comes from the Christmas greenery set. This die set is so good. I love this sprig. It's like my favorite die of the season, and I've cut out a ton of them because I used them in my 31 Days of Christmas cards as well. And I thought it would be pretty to mix those in with these die cuts. So we have a couple of you know, different looking kind of sprigs. So it's not all just a die cut look. We have some of the, you know, actual die cut paper look as well. And that looks really pretty. I actually, maybe I could cut some more out of the Secret C. That could be pretty too. But let's do, I'm gonna do this color down here since I have it up top here. This is Old Olive, and then Mossy Meadow is actually not one of the colors listed in this pack, but it goes really nicely. So I am gonna go ahead and use it anyways. I might actually, ooh, I've got some of these. Maybe I'll add this up here. You know what, that feels too small. It doesn't really fit. So let's put this up there. We'll have a couple. And then that kind of fills this area. And then I'm thinking I'll have one of my gingerbread men sticking up here. All right, so I've been sitting here staring at my borders and I'm not liking them. And I'm thinking maybe it's because I have them both kind of at the same size. I think I need a skinny of the green, like an 1/8 of an inch showing maybe, and then 1/4 of an inch showing of the Secret C. I do think that looks better if I'm gonna have 2 mats, or I could go back to my original plan and do just 1 mat. Decisions. I think I am gonna go with the 2 mats. Of course, I will gut whatever's not showing and have it around the edges. There's just, I think even just with that little hint of it, that gold just really pops. And I'll mix in just a tiny bit more gold and maybe some accents on my page. But before I get carried away with these other embellishments, I really want to make sure I have enough room for my main man, my gingerbread man. So let's go ahead and stamp him. I've got some crumb cake and pecan pie. This is pecan pie. This was my first instinct because it looks more like a gingerbread man color, but I don't love this color with all of the colors that we have here. I do like crumb cake. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to stamp it onto crumb cake and then do some ink blending with the pecan pie to kind of darken it around the edges, and we'll see how that looks. So now the question is, do I want to stamp this in Versamark and heat emboss it in white so it's like white frosting, or do I want to stamp it in like Secret C ink. I'm gonna go ahead and try the embossing. I think that's gonna look cute. And then I can show you some embossing. I better be careful getting this little guy off of here. I don't wanna rip him. All right, so here are all the dies. I'm gonna go ahead and die cut him first and then stamp just to make sure I get it lined up right. So the way this works, it's actually pretty cool. This creates a little score line, so then after you cut it, you can fold it and it creates a little card. But oh dang it, it's not quite long enough, or wide enough. So I'll just do it like this, so I get one, and then I can kind of cut his little hand out. Okay, so you can see how that worked, and then you've got this score line here, so you could fold it, but what I'm actually gonna do is I am going to cut it so that it looks like the full gingerbread man, just like that. So they're perfectly symmetrical, so you can stamp on either one. I don't think I did it perfect, but the other thing is I can hide his hand, or the die set comes with all of these candy pieces, so you could have him like holding a mug or holding a little peppermint or something like that, so you totally cover this up. I'm gonna go ahead and use my Misty just to make sure that this doesn't move around. I have a little it's like a photopolymer thing in the bottom so that I don't have to use the magnets, and it holds onto my paper pretty well, like that. And then the reason I wanted to die cut this first is because this is one of those stamps that kind of like moves around really easily. So if I stamped it first and then die cut it, I might not have had it in the perfect position. And then when I went to die cut it, it might have been like, you know, a little bit wonky, like a little higher like this or wider or something like that. So with this kind of stamp that moves around easily, it's helpful to die cut first. I'm going to close the Misty door to pick up my stamp, and the paper wanted to come up a little bit, so I'm just going to hold it down with my little paper piercer to lift it up, and I am going to add a little magnet in there after all. Since this gingerbread man isn't like a rectangle and doesn't fit down in the corner perfectly, I want to make sure I get it lined up if I have to stamp it twice. So I'm using Versamark ink, which is a sticky clear ink, and I'm going to carefully push all around the stamp to make sure I get contact with the paper all the way around. It looks pretty good. I think you can probably even see that on camera. I'm going to do it one more time just for good measure because I like a good solid embossed line, and then I think that is going to be good, so we can start embossing. I realized after stamping that I forgot to use my anti-static powder bag. That's helpful to get any static cling off of your paper, pounce it around before you do the stamping and embossing. So there were some stray strands of embossing powder that stuck, but I just got those off with a paintbrush. But here's your reminder to not forget to use your anti-static powder bag. You'll see what that looks like in a little bit when I do the stickers. But the magic of embossing never gets old. It looks so pretty as it's brought to life here. I forgot to stamp his little face before, so I did that off camera. And now I want to darken him up a little bit. And before I go to the pecan pie, I'm going to try out crumb cake to see if that might be dark enough. And I think it's going to work. Now it does go on darker when you first put it on, and then it dries back a little bit lighter. So it'll dry back lighter than it looks here, but I think that's still going to be really good. And then I just buffed off any ink that stuck on top of my embossing powder. Off camera, I also stamped a couple of those little tiny gingerbread men. I also stamped them in crumb cake onto crumb cake paper, and I gave them 3 stamps each in my Misty. I love that big gingerbread man over there. He's so cute. And then these little ones are super cute, tucked behind these little clusters, and then it helps bring that color around the page as well. I want to add some Secret C leaves, and those other ones weren't big enough. So there's this one also from the Christmas greenery, and I thought it would be nice to do something different since we already have the green ones in this. And so the Secret C is the two-tone, and I've got a whole bunch of it that's going to be hidden back behind here. So what I'm going to do is gut this out. I'm not going to need more than probably an inch all the way around. Maybe I'll give myself 1.25 inches just to be safe. And so I'll cut 1.25 inches all the way around and gut that out, and then I can cut my leaves out of what we save here. And I'll do that to the other one too. But first, I'm just going to, actually let me grab my paper trimmer again, because I want to cut a bunch of leaves. So I'm going to cut myself a piece of cardstock that's wide enough to run this through several times. It looks like I can get at least 4 out of this. All right, I did get 4 out of that piece, so I need to make sure I leave enough room for a title, but I do have plenty of room up here still, and I think I can get, maybe I'll do 2 of these here. We'll see, I might bring that down to 1. This one is a smaller space, so I think I'm just going to break off the top and use that. And maybe just have that there. Got plenty of room here for that one. And then I have this little leftover piece. I'm going to trim that in half and see how that looks. That looks pretty good. And then I'm also going to save the sprig from the die cut sheet, and I can use it with this flower on another project. All right, I don't want to get too far before I glue anything down, but I just want to see, I have some gold pieces and I might want to stick those in. This actually is a really fun star. It's from a brand new set coming out with the November online exclusives, this Swirled Designs dies. This is the new packaging, by the way, from Stampin' Up. The stamps and dies are all going in this packaging. So the dies have a picture now, they didn't before, and this is the stamp set that goes with that as well. But I'm thinking that this star, maybe I could just like tuck in. Oh, that's really cute. I might cut a few other stars. I have snowflakes, but that doesn't totally, I guess I have the flocked tree. Doesn't totally go with the look we have, but I could cover up the gingerbread man's hand with that. And then let's see, maybe stick one up here. I do really like the snowflakes, and you know what, here in Colorado we get snow, so it always works with Christmas. And bonus, I did not have to cut them specifically for this project. They were left over from other projects. I love it when that happens. They're from the Snowflake Kisses die set, by the way. And if you are interested in anything I'm using today, I will have it linked down in the description below. And if you're watching this right after I post it, Stampin' Up's actually having free shipping through Friday, October 24th on orders of 75 or more, which is always a huge perk. I pulled in these title options from the sticker sheet, and I'm going to remember to use the anti-static powder bag that I should have used for embossing. Well, I always remember it for stickers, not always for its intended purpose of embossing, but this will take the stick off of the back of our sticker so that I can move it around as I see fit. You know what? This might be an unpopular opinion. I don't know. I am going to remove the gold foil. I think now that I have some gold foil in my embellishments, I think it might be a little too much to have it. But let me know down in the comments if you liked it with or without. Sometimes I go back and I look back at the layout in editing because it's a different vantage point than I have, even though I'm standing here. And sometimes I'm like, oh, that did look really good. I really liked it. But I'm going to go without it. We'll see if I regret it or not. Well, now I'm in editing and I think I made the right decision. I do like it without that extra gold foil around the edge, and it really draws attention to the gold foiling that's in my embellishing and to the embellishments and photos themselves. So I took a picture of my layout. It can seem a little counterintuitive to do all of that work and then take it all apart, but honestly, if you take a picture so you know exactly how you're going to put it back together, it really, really helps. So I put all of my embellishments in piles, and now I am strategically cutting all of my little banner pieces. I made sure to use the trimmer for this one so that the edge is perfectly straight going up against the edge of the paper. And I'm cutting 3 at a time, by the way. So there we go. And then I'm going to go back and do the exact same thing for these next 3. So I got all my banners adhered on one side. I started with the bottom since each one on top overlaps the one below it. And I'm going to use my T-square ruler to line it up and help me get the other side matched up perfectly. And this worked out really well. By the way, if you're enjoying this video so far, don't forget to give it a like so YouTube knows that you enjoy this type of content. And if you haven't already subscribed, go ahead and do that. I post scrapbooking inspiration every week. So for the other page, I'm just butting the 2 pages up next to each other and lining them up that way. And then I'll use the T-square ruler again for the other side of the same page. I mentioned earlier adding a little interest to the background since the paper is just plain white and that textured paper didn't work out. So I thought, well, why not add some gold splatters? You know me and splatters. I never met splatters I didn't like. I haven't actually used them a whole lot lately, but I have been using them on Christmas cards. So this was out and I love using this gold splatter on Christmas cards. It's got some mica in it, so it's nice and sparkly. So I mixed it up really well, waited till it was creamy, and I'm being pretty liberal in applying them because a lot of this paper is going to be covered up, but we do have quite a bit of white showing. And then I also wanted my title to pop off of the background. So I really, really love how this is turning out, and I'll pull it up closer for a close-up in a little bit. But first I decided to put together some of these little peppermints from the gingerbread die set. So I'm going to put this one over here in the gingerbread's hand to hide any imperfections from cutting it, although it wasn't too noticeable, but it just looks cute over there. And then I didn't know if adding them behind my title would be a little bit much, but I actually really like it. And then I had the little gold foil bow in my stash for making Christmas cards too, and I think it looks pretty cute. I pulled in the sticker sheet again to see if there were any little added details that I could add, so I found a few little stickers. I'm going to add one here on the flip-flops. Sometimes that can be pretty cute. You can stick them right on top of the little page protector material. By the way, I didn't mention earlier that the flip-flops come in lots of sizes. So these are the 3x3. It also comes in 3x4, 4x4, and 4x6. And of course, those will be listed down below with everything else. I also wanted to mention that Stampin' Up! Is having a joining special, so if you've ever thought about joining Stampin' Up!, I would love to have you on my team and you would have access to these sketches as well. Right now, through the end of October 2025, it's only $35 to join instead of $99, and you get to pick out whatever you want, $125 worth of products. So I have a whole video on FAQs and what it means to be a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I will link that down in the description below. This little sticker here, I ended up pulling up from another spot and it tore a little bit, but it was still usable, so I just glued it in place. I really like these little word strips. They're a great little addition to embellishment clusters. And I'm putting a little thin 3D foam tape where they hang off. That first blue one I didn't because it goes out pretty far, but the other ones that don't stick out as much, I didn't want them just like sinking down since they're raised up a few layers. And then over on the right side, I wanted a little more cherry cobbler, and this one is on top of the flowers, which are also raised on thin 3D foam tape, so they needed to be raised as well. So that's going to wrap up this layout. I'm so happy with it. That little gingerbread man is so cute, and I love all the gold foil details. This kit was just so fun to work with. There's so many goodies in it. I'm going to try showing you the shine from those mica watercolor splatters. It's kind of hard to pick up on camera, but trust me, they're so shiny and gorgeous. Now let's bring in that flip flap that's going to go right here and flip up to reveal our other photo. You can also use these for hidden journaling. If you'd like to see still shots, be sure to follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest. Those links are down below. And here's another video that YouTube thinks you'll enjoy. So go ahead and click that, and I'll see you over there. Bye!